Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us here on another edition of our 10 Weather Impact Show. I'm Meteorologist Aaron White here on our Tuesday afternoon, and we're still tracking some really quiet weather here across the state of Ohio. We have sunshine in full force. We've had warm temperatures the last several days and still tracking more of that here for at least the time being. But eventually, as we move into October, we will start to see more of those changes, some cooler conditions, and hopefully some rain, because we of course really need it here as those drought conditions continue to expand. So here's a live look right now over downtown where we've had the sunshine really all day today. You can see off there in the distance, just past the skyline, some higher clouds. That's actually associated with some tropical moisture that's been along the East Coast. It's not going to really bring us anything aside from what you see there, just a few high clouds. Otherwise, it's pretty warm. We have 82 degrees here at 2 o'clock, and it's going to get up into the mid 80s today. Around 84 is our forecast high temperature, and then maybe even getting to 85, but I think 84, give or take a degree. It's going to be a very warm afternoon, and sunshine. That's in full force here today, and then we'll see those clear skies tonight, allowing temperatures to cool down into the lower 60s, briefly dipping into the upper 50s. But I do want to talk about the drought, because we had some good rain last week, but just wasn't enough to really get us out of the drought conditions. We saw some spots seeing a little improvement, other places seeing those drought conditions worsening, especially here in the eastern part of the state and back to the north and west. However, I will mention the new drought monitor comes out on Thursday, and the last one did not take into account some of the rain that we had on Wednesday. The drought monitor, the analysis is done every Tuesday, so any rain that we get later Tuesday or Wednesday is not reflected in the one that comes out on Thursday. So we may actually see some areas here in the southern part of the state, maybe a little improvement. However, we haven't had any rain since last week, and we're not anticipating any until we get into about the middle to end of next week. So we're talking about 7 to 10 days from now would be our next chance for any rain here across Ohio. Meanwhile, as we're going into a new month and going into October, we're starting to see a little bit more of the fall color change, but it's not really happening that quickly. We are only seeing about 10 to 20%, maybe a little kind of patchy color here across the state so far. And one of the reasons for that, the drought has had an impact on the process, but also, and more so really, is the warm weather that we've had for the last couple of weeks. And just because it's been so warm, we're not seeing that rapid or as quick of a change to get some of the fall colors. We really need some of those cooler nights, but also the bright sunny days. And we do have those in the forecast. The bright sunny days, at least, there's a couple cooler nights, but a little bit more definitely would help to really kind of spark some more of the change here across the state. Now, normally, when we talk about the peak, when we get those vibrant colors across the entire region, the peak is around the end of October. However, because it's been warm and we are still tracking the warm temperatures even into the first week of October, it's likely going to be delayed by a little bit, maybe even into early November. So we'll get there. We just got to get some of those cooler days. And right now, not tracking those in the forecast. So if you are thinking about maybe a fall activity, apple picking this weekend, not a bad idea, but it is going to be warm. We have highs in the low 80s on Saturday and Sunday, and still tracking a fair amount of sunshine, maybe just a few high clouds coming in on Sunday. But really, the reason for this is why it's always sunny around the region is because we have this upper level ridge that's built in, allowing for high pressure to take control. And high pressure, that means we get sunshine, we get dry conditions, and usually fairly calm winds. Any low pressure system, that brings us the rain, that brings us any active weather, and not tracking any of those systems. The main jet stream is staying well to our north, keeping that away from us, but we have a couple areas of low pressure in the Atlantic, and those are some tropical systems that we'll talk about here in just a moment. But high pressure, that's just going to allow for the sunshine for the next couple of days. And you can see that here on the hour-by-hour forecast. Going into tonight, clear skies in the forecast. Nothing really to track, not even a few high clouds. We had some of them there, again, further to our east here today. That all goes away, and then by Wednesday, still a lot of sunshine here throughout the day tomorrow. Notice though, as we get later into the day, may start to see some clouds building in, just a few high clouds. Nothing that would bring us any moisture, no rain here as we go into the middle of the week. Now, what it will do though, it is associated with a cooler, basically a cold front that's coming in, and it will bring us a little bit of cooler weather. It's not going to be a strong one, but you will notice a dip in our temperatures going into tomorrow and Thursday. Today though, 84 for a high, mostly sunny skies. Tonight, clear, 55 for a low. So nice and cool, but we need some more even cooler nights to really help spark that fall color change. Now tomorrow, 79. So we are dropping those high temperatures into the upper 70s here for tomorrow and for your Thursday, 78 for a high. And notice we get down to 49 degrees. So we are starting to get some more cooler nights, but temperatures do rebound though as we head into our Friday here. We got sunshine, 80 for a high temperature. We got low 80s looking ahead to Saturday and Sunday. And it is likely that we will see those 80s sticking around going into next week. But looking ahead to after the 7-day forecast, that's when we would start to see more of a change. We are tracking potential for some rain looking ahead to about 9 days from now, so middle of next week, and also some cooler temperatures. So we'll keep an eye on that in the forecast here going into next week. But for now, sunshine, upper 70s, low 80s. That's pretty much all we have, at least through Monday of next week. By Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, that's when we may start to see that change. So we'll be watching it for you here at 10 TV, but also watching the tropics. So let's get a look at the tropics this afternoon. And before we get into that, I do want to talk about this video. Jerry March talked about this video here yesterday. This is from the International Space Station, and you're looking at Hurricane Umberto that quickly developed into a hurricane last week. It actually became a Category 5 storm on Saturday. Winds peaked at 160 miles per hour. Now, thankfully, things are starting to calm down here in terms of the tropics because there was a lot of activity further there. Now, it has been sending some tropical moisture up into the eastern part of the U.S. You can see some of that rain there around northern Virginia. That's as close as it got to us here, just a few high clouds. The tropics, though, still pretty active here this afternoon. You're looking at two systems, though, where you see those bright areas of red. The one on the right, this one right here, that is the, well, kind of what's left of Hurricane Umberto. It is still a hurricane. It did, though, it was very strong, though. Again, it was a Category 5 back on Saturday. It's been encountering some, basically kind of interacting with the other hurricane here, Hurricane Imelda, that has strengthened from a tropical storm and now is a Category 1 hurricane. So they both are still hurricanes, but they're kind of battling each other, if you will. They're really close together, so they're battling each other, and basically Umberto is going to pull this one away. It's going to pull Hurricane Imelda away from the coast, which is good news for the Carolinas because at one point, if it was going to make landfall, it would have brought very, very heavy rainfall for North and South Carolina. Not the case anymore. They're still getting some rain, but because it's moving away from the U.S., things are going to start to improve. But high surf, rip currents, and even some beach erosion, that's going to be a concern for many areas along the East Coast here over the next few days. So let's look at Hurricane Imelda. Again, not a tropical storm now, it is a hurricane as the winds are now up to 85 miles per hour. And as it continues its eastern track, again, going away from the U.S., but having impacts around Bermuda as a potential Category 2 storm with winds up to 100 miles per hour. So that's going to be very problematic for the island of Bermuda as heavy rainfall, high winds, high surf. It's going to be really a concern here going into tomorrow evening before that storm eventually clears out. And we're looking at really quieter conditions as we head into the middle to end of this week, as really this is all we really have for the tropics right now, with just all that activity that's going on there with Hurricane Imelda and Hurricane Umberto. But as we talk about the hurricane, I want to talk about some of this video. This is out of South Carolina. You can see because Hurricane Imelda is just off the coast there, it's been kicking up a lot of high surf. I mean, check this out. A lot of the surfers that are, have been able to handle those conditions because those are some pretty high waves, are out there surfing, trying to catch a good wave here the last couple of days as we're starting to see more of that high surf building in. Now, as Imelda does move away from the coast, the waves are going to start to lessen and there won't be as much surf. But right now, there is concerns around Folly Beach and other areas in South and North Carolina, not just the high surf you see there, but also concerns for other beachgoers for any rip currents and even that beach erosion that we could see here over the course of the next day or so before it moves away. Now, here's another video that I want you to check out. This is actually something from last night. This is actually in northern Michigan. This is at Isle Royale National Park, and look at that. All the colors, those were the northern lights seen for many locations last night. Just so many vibrant greens and even some reds that showed up there. And the solar storm that actually got to pretty high conditions last night, up to G3, which is fairly moderate for any solar storms that occur here for the country, and really that allowed for the northern lights to be seen further south than they typically are, including there in northern Michigan, but also areas further south into Minnesota, Iowa, parts of Illinois even saw them the last couple of nights. So not quite strong enough for us to see them in Ohio, but still a pretty cool sight last night. Now, as we also talk about cool things and a way to stay cool, especially in the summertime, this is something happening up in Wisconsin, and it's a sound we're all used to hearing around the neighborhood. Kids can hear the ice cream truck, of course, the music from blocks away. But as our sister station up in Minneapolis, KARE 11, explains, one man is taking the joys of ice cream from the truck onto the boat.
When this music wafts across most neighborhoods, kids run out their front doors. But on Bone Lake in Polk County, Wisconsin, they run out the back.
We're gonna have the red one.
There you go.
Thank you.
Even at 4, Georgia Leopold knows
The strawberry one.
this is special.
We're gonna get you guys.
Any neighborhood
Thank you.
can have an ice cream truck. But on Bone Lake, ice cream floats.
We heard the music and we're
Yeah.
like, is that an ice cream boat?
Ice cream boat proprietor
Yep.
Dylan Durhide,
So we just kind of made it up on our own.
with Dad Mike as driver,
I could hear them. Me too.
gives both dogs and docks at the 500 cabins on Bone Lake a workout.
Number 12, please.
12.
But it reminds you of the old ice cream trucks when you were smaller that would come down your neighborhood. You could hear that music, and you knew what was coming.
How's it going?
It was Tyler's Treats originally.
Tyler first bought the Craigslist pontoon, which he sold to younger brother Dylan when he left for college.
I didn't have any money though, so I got a loan from my dad.
I loaned my other son the money too, so I think I've bought the boat twice technically at this point.
Not the last time the pontoon's been responsible
This is a lucrative dock.
for a dad being separated from his dollars.
It's like the Pied Piper, and they all run for the dock, and I have to go look for my wallet.
When the trolling is good,
All right, what can I get you?
sales can reach $1,000 or $2,000 a weekend.
Restock lady, yep. Moms have many jobs.
This weekend has been one of those.
There you go.
Thank you.
Their 2-song playlist aside,
I hear it in my sleep sometimes.
not a bad way for a father and son to spend a summer.
Hang out with my dad, get the good weather, make a bunch of people's days.
Thank you. My goal is that every time we come here to have at least one different desserts.
At a time of year when lake days are numbered,
I want number 8.
ice cream on the water beats a rocky road.
Hey guys!
It's the highlight of the weekend.
Boyd Hooper,
See it?
KARE 11 News,
Ah!
Bone Lake, Wisconsin.
Hey, not a bad way to stay cool out there in Wisconsin. And there's still talk about some pretty warm weather, so I'm sure that boat's going to be delivering some more ice cream for at least some more time here over the next week or so, as they have temperatures up still into the 80s, just like us, but also just like us, will eventually get those cooler temperatures now that we are moving into October. And that'll do it for us here today on 10 TV Plus for the 10 Weather Impact Show. Coming up later on this evening, Chief Meteorologist Jerry Martz will be in with the latest forecast and also looking ahead to those chances for rain by the middle of next week. So until then, you can catch more news and weather always online at 10tv.com.